Hello everyone, Jeff here for Respawn Studios, back with episode 3 of my Hearthstone series. Now today we are going to look at ranking up and how to beat the most common matchups you will face in matchmaking, in ranked play that is. So instead of the constructed mage deck we looked at last time, I'm going to be using this rogue deck. Now in the latter, most commonly you'll run into two or three main types of decks. Mostly either Zoo Warlock, which means a Warlock with a crap ton of minions, 26 or 28 minions usually, and only 1 or 2 spells, or a standard Hunter, where they try and combo their Buzzard with a Timberwolf and Unleash the Hounds to draw a lot of cards and clear the board or do a lot of damage. When you often see a Rogue, it is what is called a Miracle Rogue. They build up a lot of cards to try and win in like 1 or 2 turns in like the 6th turn. They play Leroy Jenkins, pick it back up, play it for 2 mana, things like that. They use a lot of charge, a lot of spells that combo off each other. So this deck uses a little bit of that, but it also has some bigger game creatures, and it just plays much more versatile. So you might have seen the breakdown. I'm just scrolling through all the cards here, so if you want to pause it to see the list to make the deck yourself. It does have 2 legendaries in it, Leroy Jenkins and the Black Knight. I mean, yes, you can substitute out Leroy maybe for the 4/2 charge elemental, the Unbound elemental I think it's called. It gives your opponent a mana crystal, it's okay. And the Black Knight doesn't really have something that is equal of it. It automatically destroys an enemy with Taunt, so even if it's like an 8/8 with Divine Shield. So it's always good to have, but you could just replace it with like a 6/5 with Taunt, or any other card you like. If you don't have those, any other substitutions, you could use Shadow Step, which allows you to pick up a minion. So say you play you have 8 mana and you want to play your 6 cost guy 4/2 with charge. So you do that, pick him back up, play him again that turn, do 8 damage with him, and stays out there with Divine Shield. You could use Eviscerate anytime you combo, even with a coin, you could do 4 damage to either a minion or a person. It's always nice. You could just double up on cards I only have 1 of, like Sap. You might want to put in Assassinate, but it shouldn't really be needed, or the Better Weapon, and using the Poison along with that is a good idea. But you see it is pretty balanced. You'll have cards that will be good throughout the game. Now, I don't know how much I mentioned this in my previous 2 episodes, because I've done several other Hearthstone videos too, so I know I mentioned it at least once. But in ranked play, I had never made it above rank 12 before. And I had only made it to 12 recently by trying out new decks, modifying decks that are on Hearthstone or from pro players to what I like to use and play. So this is one of those. I'm not even sure where I found the build of this deck, but I switched out a few of the cards to things I like. I switched out a legendary to something I like. But we are going to go through a lot of matches today. I had my best winning streak ever. I only started streaming after I was already on like a 5 or 6 game winning streak to get to rank 11 for the first ever time. You might hear my dog digging into my chair. Sorry. But I was rank 13, 2 stars into it, and I won several times to get to rank 11 with 1 star. So that's what we're going to pick up. And I get, I think, like 9, some crazy more wins in a row, at least 7. I'm also going to show the 1 loss that ended my streak. My god, Piper, calm down. Alright, sorry. He's like digging into the leather of my chair, I guess, trying to like move it around and get more comfortable. Alright, so our first matchup, Rogue against Rogue. So I'm going to analyze these the way I have in past videos. Hopefully you found that effective. So most commonly you'll be facing a Miracle Rogue, and again I just mentioned that it's combo, saving up cards. So you want to there's not really much you could do to counter that other than trying to win quickly or forcing them to do the opposite. Instead of them attacking, they're trying to clear your guys because you're doing something even more effective. you're still trying to win quickly, but you're using bigger minions to do it, so they're harder to clear. So that's my mindset going into this match. I'm probably facing a Miracle Rogue, but I still want to stick to my playstyle, building up to get 4 or 5 good-sized minions out there, and then winning in 1 or 2 turns after that. You don't want to like coin here. Obviously, it would be pointless to play the one that give 2 damage to the squire because it goes away after 1 turn. You don't want to coin for the weapon to do 1 damage because then you have nothing out there and you have this 1/1 weapon. So if you have the 1/1 with Divine Shield, of course that's what you want to play. So he attacks it. Alright, so at least get some good value and have another minion to replace it. I love that you could play backstab on your own guys. I mean, I could definitely think of things where it works, where you're enraged guys, but it's just always crazy to me. Alright, so Shiv, do 1 damage, draw a card. I would never, ever, ever, ever use that spell. There are so few people, especially in the higher ranks, that play something with 1 damage. I mean, maybe it's good to like get rid of the Divine Shield and you're drawing a card, but no. There are much better things to use than that. Alright, so I get the Harvest Golem out there, start to develop the board. He still has nothing out there. And by going to his knife again, he seems to really not have anything going for him. So he also plays Deadly Poison, do 3 damage, which is interesting because he's going to take 2 damage for attacking my golem, and I'll still have the other golem. Alright, so I'm going to play my weapons, start to make inroads into his health, do a bunch of damage. Hopefully keep him on the defensive, not able to attack me. You see I still have full health. I'm already kicking his butt. And it's always great to make your opponent use their weapon to attack your minions, because they'll also be taking damage while they're getting rid of your minion. Alright, so next turn we're looking to play the Azure Drake, unless we draw something else. And this is like the thing I've talked about in past videos too, where I don't understand how people take so long to make decisions. If you're especially this high in rank, you probably know what you want to do and different like obstacles you'll run into with your opponent, so you should be able to make calculations about damage, health, and things in your head, what costs what. Okay, so he uses Sap, which costs 2, and it just puts the minion back in their hand with the same cost. And using it on a 1/1? Like, why? Why? That is such a bizarre move. So at this point I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't even know what he's doing, so I'm just going to keep playing my style, not worrying about what he's trying to do. Which I don't even know what he's trying to do. Alright, so Leroy. And that's always a good combo. Make him do 10 damage. He's given his weapon, so he's able to do 13 damage to me. Okay, clears my guy, so can't do spell. Alright, picks Leroy back up to be able to use him again and make sure I can't kill him next turn. Kill Leroy, that is. During my turn. But I have some counters to that. I could stop his rush by playing the Defender of Argus, making these guys taunt up, which I do. And I put back down my 1/1 with Divine Shield. So now I have 4 minions out there. 2 of them have taunt, so he has to attack it with his weapon and Leroy, unless he has one other backstab. I think he's already used one. any other spell that would do damage would also cost him something, so he wouldn't be able to also play Leroy. Alright, so he does do a combo to clear out my other taunt guy to be able to do 6 more damage to me. And he conceals his guys, but you see I'm able to kill him next turn. I have all kinds of combos myself. I can play him and give him more damage. So there we go. And look at the bizarre text. Too late. Your turn is over. What? It had just started and I didn't end the turn. So apparently your opponent conceding ends your turn. So, alright. So there we go. 1 win over a bizarre kind of rogue deck. It seemed to be a miracle rogue, but maybe he didn't know how to play, which is bizarre because he was rank 11. That's pretty high to get without really knowing what to do against another rogue matchup. That should be your bread and butter, knowing how to beat yourself. Alright, now, one of my arch nemesis is the priest, because they're able to heal so much. They have a lot of removal spells, anything with 3 or less health. So even like that minion 3/1 with Divine Shield, the spell works on that. And then also any minions with 5 or more attack they can get rid of for a low cost spell. They have a lot of things that combo with healing, drawing more cards. So a lot of things that present problems here. Now, I could have played my 2/1, but why is that a bad idea? A, I'm not able to attack with it right away, and I wouldn't have been able to kill the enemy minion anyway. 2, he would probably then attack, which would kill my minion, and he'd have 1 health left, and then he would heal. So it would still be a 1/3, and he would have drawn a card, and I would have lost my guy. Yes, I would have gained a card, but that's not a good trade-off. So I use the weapon, and I don't attack the minion again because it could have healed and drawn a card, so I just attack the guy. Same thing here, same reasoning as well. So now if the minion attacks me, it will die and I won't. But he does it, and in the previous turn he used the card to get 2 cards from your opponent's deck, which is also very, very frustrating. You use your opponent's spells and minions against them, and of course he got backstabbed, so he's able to take out my minion. Alright, so now the board's clear, we could safely play the Loot Hoarder. We could have comboed it and given it more attack, but why? We can't attack yet, and it being a 6/1, it could easily be destroyed by a spell or something simple. So we just give ourselves our hero power, the 1/2, and attack. Alright, a 1/7, he probably thinks this is really good, at least buy him a couple turns. No. So we could use Deadly Poison and give our weapon more damage. We could combo into the blood, the cold blood, and give him the 4 more attack this turn. So those are 2 big things we're looking at. Otherwise, we can't attack it right now. And I do want to eliminate it right now. Why? Because they also have the spells to double a minion's health, give it more health, etc., etc. Heal. So I just want to get it out of the way right now. There's also a spell to change minion's attack to be equal to its health. So a lot of things could have gotten much worse if I didn't eliminate that threat right away. It looks innocent enough for 1/7, but because of the spells for the priest, I just want to play it safe and get rid of it. Alright, here's one of the cards I talked about as a potential switch out if you don't have legendaries. It's a 4/2 with charge. The one downside, because it's a low cost at only 3, it does give your opponent a permanent mana crystal, so they are able to do something a little bit earlier than you. Alright, so I could attack with my golem, become the 2/1. Now, why do I make this play? A, I always like having things with taunt, slow down your opponent. B, it gives them more health. And now I have a guy with Taunt and Divine Shield, so it has to be attacked twice. So even if he uses like his Holy Nova, do 2 damage to all enemies, restore 2 health to all good guys, I guess. So there. I still have 2 guys alive, including the full Divine Shield guy with health. I just lost the Divine Shield. Alright, so we have a lot of different options here. I decided to quickly go with this, keep the pressure up, do the charge attack, instead of playing the Taunt Divine Shield or the spell damage and draw a card. If you get into late game with a priest, to me that's even more bad news, because their higher up guys can have a lot of health, they can use a lot of spells to heal. There's just a lot of issues. They can keep healing, which I hate. So I try and keep the pressure up against the priest whenever possible. I try and keep the pressure up against anyone, because trying to get them to play defensive when most often people want to play offensive. The big exception to that is a style of deck that seems to be growing in popularity. It's called a ramp druid. And what does that mean? You use Innervate, Nourish, a lot of their spells which let you gain a lot of mana crystals early on in the game. So you get a lot of big minions out early on, so it's hard to deal with, and you just overload your deck with high up minions. So if they're able to deal with a few of them, they can't deal with all of them. So 5-6 attack and health guys with taunts. There's also some crazy spells and minions that get like a 5-10 with taunt, 4-6 with taunt, etc., etc. But anyway, back to this game at hand. You see, now we're in a really, really good position. He doesn't really have any spells that can get rid of my board, and nothing really to directly damage me, so I pretty much already won. Alright, so let's look at this problem. Think of all the different ways we could play this. We could get a weapon and attack him. He'll lose the shield that way. We would take the 4 damage. We could use Backstab to simply get rid of the Divine Shield. We could attack it with, say, the 2-1, which I decide to do. Get rid of the Divine Shield. Now I also use Backstab. And why do I do it this way? Backstab actually does 3 damage because of the Azure Drake. And then I attack with my guy with Divine Shield because he won't even die. And then I was able to do just enough damage and I kill him. So we're up to rank 10. I had never been higher than rank 12 today, and we've already gone from up to 11 and now up to 10. So let's keep this going. And the great thing about this episode and this win streak is I play a lot of the common deck styles you'll run into. So we had kind of a miracle rogue, even though either he wasn't drawing the cards at the right time, or he was just playing so defensive and out of his element, he didn't really know what to do. And then we played kind of standard priest, heal priest. Try to control the game. Alright, so a mage. What are common... so you can't think of common mage styles as being maybe things you run into at like rank 25. When you get to higher up, and you can learn all of these things by looking at Hearthstone or a lot of the top Hearthstone players on Twitch, and learn, okay, what kind of mages are they running into? The most common mage in higher play is a frost mage. They use the frost elemental, they use frostbolt, they use ice lance, so a lot of things with ice damage. And they couple that with often the 1-1 legendary, which gives +1 spell damage. Yes, it's only 1-1, but the point is you hold on to that till late in the game, so then when you play it, you could use a bunch of ice spells. So if you get to like 10 mana and you have them all and that guy, you could do like 30 damage with ice. It's nuts. So that's most often the mage type you'll see. This, however, I think I actually played 2 mages in this. I'm not sure if this was the weird Zoo style. I actually faced a mage with Zoo style where he had tons and tons of minions. And actually not any spells, it seemed. Which was very bizarre. But the other was an ice guy. I'm not sure which one this is. But by having the Squire 1/1, yeah. Okay, so this is the, yeah, there we go. This is the Zoo style mage. I've seen Zoo style played with, of course, Warlock is the main style. Because your hero ability, you're just able to keep drawing cards. You can play a lot of low-cost minions. But I've never ever seen it with a mage, so this is kind of unusual to me. But I am used to playing the style of deck. And Rogue is probably one of the best things to counter it. Shaman's good, but a lot of the Shaman spells are overload, which means you are limited to what crystals you have access to your next turn, as you might have seen in episode 2 of this series. But Rogue has a lot of combos where you don't take damage and you're doing damage. When you play a card, when you play a weapon, when you give a spell, things like that. So a lot of good ways to quickly clear the board. Now, you see I could have played the Azure Drake here, but that's only a 4/4. It's pretty high cost. So this guy's flooding the board with low-cost minions. So I'm going to do the same. Because one of mine has a Divine Shield, and the other 2/1, I could sacrifice that. It dies, it takes out an enemy minion, and I draw a card. So I'm getting a lot of value for my minions. Meanwhile, he's just trying to desperately attack. I mean, that's the big downside to Zoo decks. If you like this, if you could taunt up, they like have nothing they can do, unless they're also running some spells, unless they have a lot of minions with charge. You could just really easily control it. You just keep their minions down. Don't worry about attacking the person for a while. Just keep the board clear, and then after a little while they'll run out of minions, and you could just then quickly kill them. Alright, so again, I'm in like an ideal situation. I have a lot of minions out there that do enough damage to kill pretty much anything that a Zoo deck will be running. A lot of the low-cost minions. I'm also equipped with the poison right now to give my weapon 2 more damage, so that could also kill most minions he's probably going to run, do 3 damage. But now that I've cleared the board, as I was talking about, I could just start laying into him with tons and tons of damage. So instead of again playing defensive with the Divine Shield taunt guy, I'm going to play my Divine Shield charge so I could just attack right away. So here we go. So this was kind of a weird style. This, I think, was actually both Frost and Zoo. He had tons of low-cost minions, but look at this. He played it 1/1. You see we're only like, what, on turn 7 or 8? And then look at these spells. I think this is that situation, yeah. He plays Frostbolt, and then the Ice Lance. So he gets, so there, another Frostbolt. So instead of 3 damage, they do 4 damage, and here, if you're already frozen, it does a lot of damage. So he actually got pretty close to killing me, which is insane, because I was kicking his ass. But that's the power of the Ice Mage. That's why it's been growing in popularity. You just survive for a few turns, and then it could pretty much be lethal. But there we go. We're able to defeat it. So the win streak continues. We're a little more than halfway into rank 10 now, my highest ever. Getting some gold. Alright, so let's keep it going. You see I have a lot of different decks made right now. I have a couple hunters, neither of which I've tried. I have my mage deck, which is my variation of the deck we constructed together in the first episode. It's not exactly that, but it is fairly close. It's the same kind of philosophy of being, I guess, balanced is the best word. Alright, so now, when you're trying to gain ranks, you will most often either run into, as I mentioned, the Zoo Warlock or a Hunter. So what are you expecting with a Hunter? The play I mentioned. The unfortunate thing with that Hunter style is it is really dependent on your opponent having multiple minions out there. So think of, I want to get a couple of minions out there with a lot of attack, but not too many. So maybe 2 really good minions and then buff them up. Why? Because then his play is borderline useless. because their play relies on Unleash the Hounds, which you summon a 1/1 with charge for every enemy minion. So unless you have multiple, they can probably only summon 1 or 2. So they play their Buzzard, which costs 2. They play Unleash the Hounds, which costs 2. And they play Timberwolf, which costs 1. So they only need 5 mana for their ultimate play. Why is that the ultimate play? With the Starving Buzzard, you draw 1 card for every minion summoned. So every Hound summoned, you'll draw cards. You could draw like 5 or 6 cards. And then the Timberwolf gives all other beasts +1 attack. So all of the 1/1 Hounds become 2/1s. And they all have charge. So it's a good way to clear the board when you're a hunter. Or if none of the enemies have taunt, do a lot of direct damage. So I have all of those things in mind. So that's why I do this. Right away, I ramp up this 2/1 and make him into a 6/1. Yeah, that's ridiculous. But also, I'm doing so much damage to him, he has to react to that. Or I could get him very, very low on health. Like, what, under... What is he? I can't... This screen is so small when I'm doing commentary. It's like 18 health right now, so I could have got him under 10 health by the 5th turn. So he has to deal with it. So he's forced to play one of his really great cards, the Unleash the Hounds, to deal with my minions. Yes, he destroys both of them, but those were little minions for me. That is great value. He was forced to use one of his ultimate spells, and I just used some of my little minions. A few of the hunters that ladder up sometimes don't even play the traps. The common traps you'll see are either Explosive Trap, which when you attack the hero, it does 2 damage to all enemies. Or Freezing Trap. When you attack your minions return to your hand and it costs 2 more. So now that was a good value for him. He played a 1/1 to be able to eliminate my guy with a kill command. But also he loses that again combo ability because he's used one of his Timberwolves and one of the Unleash the Hounds and not even together. So I'm actually totally controlling this game right now. He's not able to make any of his standard plays. Okay, so look at this. He's made a 5/4. So that has taunt, so I can't get to the guy. So when I kill the taunt, he would get more health. So I first start with Backstab, take that guy out. Because again, if you kill the 5/4 taunt first, the hyena is going to gain, +2, +1 or something for every guy that dies. Every friendly beast that dies. And now here we taunt up. Yes, I'm losing my Azure Drake, but what does he have? He has a 1/1 against my good stuff, so we're good to go. We're in total control of this game. Alright, so he uses another kill command, but it was on a golem, so it still comes back. I still have 24 health. See, look, now... That's crazy. I kicked this guy's ass. He only has 1 card. He already used both of his hounds. He's desperately trying to stay alive. So, why don't I play that guy right there? I want to see what this trap is. So I eliminate his guy that gives all of the others an additional attack, and then I attack him to see what the trap is. And it was indeed an Explosive Trap. So now I play my guy and I buff him. So that's nuts. Now he has to attack him twice. And it's an 8/2. So anything attacking it will die. If he had a weapon that attacked me, he would take the 8 damage. So I'm in great shape. Alright, so with his one... Alright. What? So he could have killed my guy there. So the thinking is, alright, so obviously his other trap is an Explosive Trap. So when I attack, my guy will die. But that's fine. I have another guy with charge. So I could do 5 more damage. And I have a weapon out. So I'm able to take out the Murloc. So the Murloc can't do 2 damage to my guy and kill him next turn. So unless he draws a card that can eliminate my minion, I'm going to win next turn. And there we go. Concession. Alright, so we are max stars in rank 10, another win in a row, and we'll be up to rank 9. And I leveled up. This is crazy. I had never won more than like 5 or 6 games in a row before I then usually lose like 8 in a row right after a good winning streak. This was, again, I was playing well, here's the story. I was playing my shaman deck, which I was losing 2, winning 2, back and forth, staying in the middle of rank 13. So I decided to switch it up, and I tried out this rogue deck. I won my first 2, I lost 1, then I won 5 more in a row. I'm like, oh god. So I'm going to start streaming this. Maybe this could be something. And then after those 5 wins on stream, I won like, I think like 8 or 9 more games in a row. It was crazy, like a 13, 14 game winning streak. So obviously you see I'm going to keep winning here for a while. By the length of the video, you can tell that too. So we're playing another hunter. So again, there isn't really another way that I've seen hunter played. They try and flood you with some beasts, try and survive, use the animal companion, hopefully get a 4/4 with taunt or the 4/2 with charge. Try and control the board a little bit early on that way. But again, they're building toward hopefully their combo with the Buzzard, Timberwolf, and Unleash the Hounds. Alright, so this guy does one of the other big hunter plays. He plays his weapon that's a 3/2, but he doesn't let it break. The bow has the ability, anytime you have a trap, a secret that is set into effect, your weapon gains durability. And it keeps that going and going and going and going by playing like 4 or 5 secrets. But again, the common traps are either freezing trap or explosive trap, which I've talked about. There's also misdirection when you attempt to attack. Instead of attacking the hero, you're going to attack another random guy. So it could be an enemy, it could be your own hero, it could be another minion. But there we go, it was an explosive trap. So I had a 3/5, so it doesn't really affect it too much, still a 3/3, but his weapon gained another durability. Alright, so look at this play, this is sick. So even if he kills my guy with the weapon, obviously he would need something else to hit my guy twice. Otherwise I'm able to do 7 damage next turn with it. So look, Buzzard, Timberwolf, Unleash the Hounds. He's forced to make this play so early because we're being aggressive with combos. They can't wait and use this the way they want it to. It's this deck is so perfect to play hunter. You make like your 3 1s, your 2 1s into 7 1s, and they like freak out. They're like, "Oh God, I could lose in like 3 or 4 turns. I can't wait." So it's awesome. All right, so we have backstab. Besides use on the Buzzard because the 1/1, I could just I could have used the hero attack on, of course, the Buzzard, but I would have taken 1 more damage. So that was really the only logic there for that order. I could have used the other backstab, but that's... no. He might play something, a bigger guy, and I want to save the backstab for that to make some inroads there. Okay, so he has... you see one of my favorite cards, the 4/2 with charge and Divine Shield. Alright, so he's being aggressive. Alright, so you see, saving that other backstab works perfectly here. Yes, my golem became its smaller version, but I was able to kill his guy. And now... oh, sorry. I was able to play one of my really good minions. 4/5 with Divine Shield and Taunt. So it has to be hit twice. Alright, so he plays his weapon again, and he plays... the pirate that gains damage equal to the attack of the weapon. Alright, so ways to play this. We could use Cold-Blooded on the Golem to eliminate the Pirate. We could play Defender of Argus. Now, we could have attacked it with the guy with Divine Shield, but he would have lost the shield, and I kind of don't want to do that. And this guy has the unusual secret. When you attack anything, they gain the 3/1/1 snakes. You don't attack them instead, so it's not that bad. Alright, here I'm eliminated one of the snakes. And he says thanks. I was like, wait, what? What is he trying to do that was a good thing? I think he meant that thanks that I summoned his secret and his weapon's a 3/3. I was worried he meant he had like a kill command and he was going to attack with a snake and then eliminate my guy after getting rid of the shield. Alright, so we both have decent minions right now. And you see I only have a Drake and an Argent Squire, and there's nothing I could immediately do to get rid of them next turn. Alright, so he makes a trade. And there we go. Apparently he decided he was not going to be able to do the typical hunter moves, and he concedes. So we're up to rank 9, 2 stars. My dream now, in the couple test seasons and now the first actual season of ranked play, so it's like every 30 days, every month they change it. They reset the ranks. My dream has been to get to single digits, but again, in a previous season I'd never been to higher than 15 before, or higher than 16 before, I don't think. This season I got up to 12 2 or 3 times with different decks, but never higher than that. But today I was just on a roll. Rank 11, then 10, and now we're a couple stars into 9. So let's keep this going. But again, that poker psychology, which I've talked about before, when these guys are probably facing a rogue, they're thinking, oh, I'm going to face a miracle rogue. They're going to try and do combos. No. I mean, yes, I'm going to do combos, but not the kind of combos he's probably thinking of. Mine, I like to use to control the board, not as much to do damage to the opponent. Alright, so here we're facing a mage. Again, I'm probably thinking Ice Mage. I'm going to put a Squire out there. Again, there's no point playing the Sergeant. There's nothing he can give attack to. I could have used the coin to play the 2/1, but being a mage, he could then pretty quickly use the Fire Blast on it. Alright, but now we're getting a couple minions out there, so he can only choose to use Fire Blast on one of them. And the other good knowledge, the good thing I was thinking of, in all of the mage builds I've seen for people that are in these higher ranks, none of them ever use Arcane Explosion, do 1 damage to all enemy minions, which would have quickly gotten rid of all of my guys there. But none of them seem to run that. It costs 2 and it does 1 damage. So you're probably thinking, to me this is the logic, that your opponent's not going to have very many 1 damage guys, or to make that worthwhile you would need to have several minions that give you +1 spell damage, and it's just kind of a waste, so they don't use it. Alright, now Ice Elemental, I don't like it, so let's get it out of there. So I use Backstab to do 2 damage. Of course I could use my Divine Shield guy to do 3, and it's no threat to damage to me. So I was able to take out one of his big guys and still do damage. Now unfortunately my 3/1 is open to being Fire Blasted, which I'm pretty sure it is. But it was a good trade. I still had 3 minions, he lost his good guy, and I was able to do 2 more damage. Alright, so even if he's an Ice Mage, he's forced to use them on my guys. And I still have 2 because of the Golem. Alright, so now I can play Tozdingo here. 3/5 with taunt. But of course, if he has a fireball, the 4 cost 6 damage thing, he could have gotten rid of that right away. He could have polymorph, turn it into a 1/1 sheep. Could have had another frostbolt, do 3 damage, use fire blast on it, make it a 3/1 that can't attack. Instead, he uses Face's Manipulator. Now, I could play Black Knight here and destroy the Tuzdingo, or I could play my guy with charge. I decided to play this because I don't take any damage, there's no threat, I still have my taunt guy, and I have a lot of good minions out there. I'm, again, trying to stay aggressive, make him play defensively, react to what I'm doing. Never let him control the tempo. It's all about me. So I eliminate his guy, I clear the board on his side, and bam. Apparently he's not confident in his spells or minions to be able to deal with all that already. So awesome, here we go. We're 4 stars in rank 9. I call the deck Mirakuru. It's not like another language for miracle. It might be. I never even thought of that. But it's from Arrow. Mirakuru. So that would make sense. Like the miracle drug. But in the storyline of Arrow, it's like a thing during World War II. It was like this serum to make super soldiers. Like really strong and powerful guys. And that's what it does, Mirakuru. Alright, so now we're at another Rogue-Rogue matchup. So again, I'm thinking Miracle Rogue, they're working toward big attack combos, but they would take a few turns to get there. So let me try and get some early game going. So, really awesome opening hand here. And you saw to the great effect, Cold Blood is used early on to one of your guys with Divine Shield, because they have to be attacked twice. That's nice. That's always nice. You say greetings to your opponent and then they threaten you. So I say thank you to be jerk about it. Alright, so we have a lot of different ways we could play this. We could attack the 1/1 with our 1/1. We could use our weapon. We could have just not attacked it and attacked the guy with our minion. But I decided to get it out of the way, in case he gets rid of my guy next turn. Alright, so Harvest Golem. So far we've used all of like the same kinds of cards. Now obviously I don't want to use the 1/1, the 2/3, there's no point. It's not like my weapon could do multiple damage. So we just do some direct damage. Alright, so he takes out my 1/1, but he takes another damage, and he was forced to use 2 mana to make another weapon instead of playing a card. So that's a good trade for me. Now his golem could attack my 3/1, but it would die. My guy wouldn't. It would just lose its Divine Shield. Could of course always have a backstab to get rid of him right now, but alright, so he attacks me. So now I'm thinking he probably doesn't have a backstab. Alright, so we could do a lot of things here. We could have first played the Defender Vargas. Why would we do that? Our guy would have died anyway with the health if we're going to attack the golem. We could have just used, played the Squire and then the like Cold Blood and just did a lot of damage directly to the rogue. But again, I like controlling the board, getting their stuff out of the way. Alright, so in there, did have a backstab. Maybe just thought there were better uses for it later. Alright. Alright, so again, look. He plays the Shattered Sun Cleric, which has the battle cry to give one of their other minions plus 1/1. So he's already he's being forced to play that. Of course, probably when he doesn't want to. So we're in really good shape. Alright, so why do I do this? To kick his ass, keep the pressure up. I have a weapon to do 2 damage, so I get rid of that. I use the 1/1 to trade with a 1/1. And now my 10 damage Leroy attacks him. Yes, he could have a backstab to get rid of it right away, but if not, he attacks it with the 1/1 and then would probably have to use his weapon on it. So he would take 10 more damage. So again, he's going to be forced to do some sort of combo to get rid of Leroy without really dying here. Unless he has this other backstab. He could have the SI7 agent, which he combos and then it would do 2 damage. He could have something with charge. But making it a 10-2, he has to deal with it right now. Alright, so plays Dwarf, gives his 1/1 plus 2 attack, and he takes out Leroy. Now, we could play the Defender, but why would we? We waste its Battle Cry, and it's only a 2/3. For a cost of 4, it's not good value. So I use Sap on his Dwarf, so he can't attack me for 4/4. And if he wants to play it again, he has to use 4 of his like 7 or 8 mana crystals to do so. Alright, so Azure Drake. So we have very similar decks. Okay, so play my 2/1. Now, do we want to taunt it up? Sure, why not? Because now, if the Argent Squire attacks it, it would only do 1, and now I attack it, so even if it attacks the Loot Hoarder, it'll die. Now, I could play Cold-Blooded to give my other guy, make him a 6/3, and he would be hiding behind the taunt, but I'm worried he might have something to get rid of him. Plus, the 6/3 isn't really ideal right now, so I want to save it for maybe the 4/2 with Charge and Divine Shield. Some other better purpose to use the Cold Blood. Hopefully to do direct damage to him, or worst case scenario, use it. So here we go. Worst case scenario, use it. Alright, so I could play him and then Cold Blood and attack directly, but he would still be alive. And he would be able to do at least 8 damage with the 2 4/4s. He might also have a Leroy Jenkins, so I could be in bad shape. So I probably want to instead attack one of his guys, and the better one to do would be the Drake, because it has the spell damage. Alright, so there we go. And I still have my Cold Blood. That card is so pointless to me. Cost 2 to play a 1/1 and draw a card. That's just such horrible value to me. I don't understand that. Alright, so he makes his weapon. I was wondering why he would attack me to do 4 damage to himself. But it was to use Fan of Knives to get rid of both my guys. He saw I only had 1 card before that. So maybe he was hoping I would be screwed. But no, I'm able to do a combo, do direct damage, and my weapon got buffed. Alright, so he's really on the ropes. I'm not doing the best in health. He could have some crazy combos, but I'm in pretty good shape. He's probably going to want to focus on destroying my guy unless he's able to kill me right now. But there we go. He just gave away... Okay, he can't because he used 4 damage to eliminate my 3/3. And then he used 7 mana to draw 4 cards. So he's really building towards something for next turn. Aw, too bad there won't be a next turn. Now, why not? Because I would use Cold-Blooded on enemy minion, which of course you could do, it's a spell. And then that would make me able to combo the 2 damage for the SI7 agent. So I'm sure he was thinking he was about to win, but nope. There we go, combo, 2 damage, and I have my poison weapon, so I do 3. We had 2 health, and there we go. Another good win. So I wasn't even necessarily facing another Miracle Rogue. Yeah, he was probably trying to build toward a big combo like a Miracle Rogue, but I was pretty much playing a mirror deck like mine, and we were able to beat it. So here we go. We're up to rank 8, 1 star in. I'm not moving past the screen because I was freaking out. I was typing to Pyre and Gino. My 2 other good friends had to respawn. Freaking out that I was still ranking up. And it was such a big deal to me. I'd never been 11 before, and I was 11, 10, 9, now I'm 8. An amazing day. And the current season ends in a couple days, so I might not even touch ranked again. I don't want to potentially spoil myself, jinx myself now, and like get back down to like rank 12 by going on a losing streak. I might just stay at 8. Though even after my loss coming up, the game after this, I think, I was still 2 stars into 8. So I might stream tomorrow. So you pretty much never want to have a 5 in your hand with this kind of rogue deck. So I switch that out. I don't do much better. I get Leroy at a 4. You kind of want to use that late game. You could always use it to clear the board if he has a big taunt. Alright, so one of the style decks I was talking about is the Ramp Druid. A druid that tries to get guys with big health and damage out as early as possible. So I'm thinking, okay, it's probably going to be a Ramp Druid. I don't really know of any other druid style. I've never really run into other ones. Okay, so I could coin in... Yep, there we go. 3-1. I could have coined in the Golem, but... I like doing the 3 more attack, and anything with Divine Shield to me usually makes your opponent freak out. Oh god, I have to hit this thing twice. Alright, so here we go. He has a Golden Enervate, so he's a higher level druid. So he wants to first do the spell, which would just get rid of my shield, and he draws a card. So he's going to take the hit of doing 3 damage, but he had 2 armor, so he loses 1. My guy's gone, and he drew a card, so that was pretty good value for him. Now I'm going to play the Golem. I could have done my weapon and the poison, but there's no need. 3 damage at this point, it's kind of useless. Especially if I think I'm playing the Ramp Druid, he's going to have a lot of guys with health, so I'm going to want to do damage, probably with my weapon at some point. So, here I do stab, and then combo. Look at all these combos, this is crazy. So bam, I'm able to take out his guy. And instead of attacking him, I was able to do 6 damage when I only had to do 3. So either of my guys could kill him next turn. So I decided to do the 6 damage directly. Now this is interesting. He uses Faceless Manipulator already to make a 6/3 Harvest Golem. That was a stupid play to me. Alright, so make my weapon, give it poison now. To do 3 damage. I don't want to get rid of my agent. I like having multiple minions out there. And I could also cold-blood it. So look at all this damage I could do. Do I want to get rid of the golem? No, let's keep doing damage. Let's keep the pressure up. And you see I have a Black Knight in my hand, which instantly destroys a guy with taunt. So even if he makes like the 5/10 with taunt, gone right away. Alright. So this is very interesting. Now what do? It's only a 4/3. Is that really worth using the Black Knight on? No. So we hold on to it and we instead play our guy with charge. Yeah, we take the hit of taking more damage when we attack the golem, but we're able to do more damage and have a guy out there with Divine Shield that he has to deal with. Alright, now, perfect. You see, now we could use the Black Knight. He made a 4/6, we can get rid of it and have two guys out there, two really good sized minions out there. Bam. Alright, we are getting lower down in cards, but one of them is Leroy, which is always a great finisher. Alright, so now, look at this play. He attacks me, of course. He's not going to want to take damage at this point. So, Leroy. Now, look at the attack order here. We could have done this all kinds of different ways. We could have used Leroy. No, why would we do that? It would die, and that is no value. Right? So we want to use the Black Knight and then attack. Yes, I'm taking the 4 damage, but he only had exactly 6 health, 5 and an armor. So by doing it in that order, I was able to kill him. So that's just a quick decision, the quick math you're going to have to get used to doing in your head. Of course, you could take time and be a douchebag, wait like a minute to take your turn, but there we go. Another win. So we're 3 stars now into rank 8. Alright, so I hope you've enjoyed all of these different matchups. The standard hunter, kind of zoo mage, the ice mage, the ramp druid, the miracle rogues. We've beaten all of them with no losses. This is crazy. But now here we go. A paladin. Paladins have nuts spells. They have the incredible combo, which only costs 6 total mana. 2 cost spell equality, change the health of all minions to 1, and then they could use consecration, do 2 damage to all enemies. So if you had like 6 guys out there, all with a lot of health, and say a couple of them had Divine Shield or Taunt, you do that and you wipe out all of them. Unless, again, they had Divine Shield, maybe they'll just be down to 1 health, but they might have some minions out there and quickly be able to clear the board. So it's pretty brutal. They have a spell to change one of your guys' attacks to 1. They have a 3/3 minion that also does that. So they have a lot of great control cards, which is bad news for me. Yes, I try and do quick damage, so in that situation it's not that bad, but I also have guys that need the turn of not attacking when you play them to get ready, so he's able to use spells to counter them before I'm able to use them effectively. Alright, now, he does this play a couple times where he takes the Divine Shield off my guys, using that guy to get more health. So I sap it there, get rid of his 6/6, not going to worry about it. And now if he plays it again, it would only be, what, a 3/3. And he used his coin to be able to play that, so it was also really good value that way. Also gets rid of a 6/6 when I only had a 1/1. Now, using my poison when my weapon only was able to attack 1 more time probably wasn't a good idea, but I want to try and keep the pressure up. Unfortunately, the Paladin does have a lot of balanced spells. They also have a 2-cost one that I think restores 6 health. So they survive a lot of different ways. They have the things that give their guys Divine Shield. There's a spell that gives a guy +4/+4, and not just for a turn. That's like permanently until they're dead or they lose it. If you silence them, they lose it. But they just have so much good stuff to control the game. A lot of it isn't used for attack purposes, it's to defend. So you're trying to get to the late game is kind of how the Paladin's supposed to be played, I would say. Alright, now we could work toward using the Black Knight on it. We could use Leroy. We could use Backstab, attack it with 2, but it would still have 1 health. So I just go for the value play, use all of my crystals to play the 5, 4/4, give me more spell damage and a draw card. Alright, so now Backstab does 3 damage, and I'm able to kill him. Yes, I take the 3 damage, but I have a 4/4. I was able to get rid of his guy with taunt, save my Black Knight for another situation. So to me that was a pretty successful play. Alright, True Silver Champion's also brutal. Does 4 damage and he gains 2 health. So there he had a net loss of 2 health, but he also got rid of my 4/4 with spell damage. So I'm trying my best just to keep the pressure on, but this guy just keeps coming. Alright, so there we go. He changed my 5/2 into a 1/2. So it's like borderline useless. And he gives it taunt. Right? Like, this is so frustrating to play against. Now I could use the Black Knight to get rid of it. I could use him to get rid of it. Play a couple smaller minions. See, like, I'm put in this situation right here. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the best overall play would be. Like, if I were a pro player, I probably would attack this differently. But, no. I'm trying to keep the pressure up, keep doing damage, hopefully keep him on his toes. So I use the Black Knight on that little guy, the 3/3 with taunt. But there we go. Plays his 5/6 and he gives himself 6 more health. So if I play my 6 cost guy here with 4/2, I could do 4 damage and also use the Black Knight, but both of them would die. So instead I just decide to keep attacking. Even though he just healed, I'm just trying to keep that pressure up. Alright, but he plays that guy again, lose Divine Shield. And so there go 2 of my minions. So the game is pretty much over at this point. Yeah, he takes more damage. Yeah, he's down a decent amount of health, but I have no minions, and he has a 5/6, a 6/6. It's just not good news. So I just attack him. I got him down to single digits health, but there's just nothing I can do. Could have used Leroy, got rid of the 6/6. Maybe slowed the game down. Maybe it could have developed differently, but I don't know. Maybe I just felt invincible because I was on this win streak. I probably could have played that better. He wouldn't have had the 6/6 then if I did Leroy to give 1/1 and taunt. And now at this point I'm just totally screwed. I had to give him well played because I did not play well this game. I probably could have made better decisions and won, but again I was probably on just too much of a high on this win streak. And it just ran out of juice, ran out of momentum. I'd never been nearly this high I don't know. Not really any excuses. I just didn't play well.
Let's go, baby. I don't mess around when I say I clutch. Bro, where are those first two bullets?
And then I kill myself. Alright, so thank you very much for watching episode 3. I hope you enjoyed that look into playing Rogue and ranking up. I hope you enjoyed some of those tips, and I'll be back with episode 4 soon. Thanks for watching.